Hey everyone, this is DW's Darius, and welcome to another day in the fish room. So I just turned the tank lights on, so most of the fish are still trying to adjust to the brightness. But today I have a special video. I have a new fish in the fish room. Right now it's in acclimation, and this right here is the most expensive fish I've ever bought. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I do try to save as much as I can in this aquarium hobby because it can be pretty expensive. All my decorations, I collected them locally from nearby lakes and reservoirs. My fish, most of my fish, I like to buy them as juveniles. I made a whole video why, but basically when you buy your fish as juveniles, you pay for a much lower price. For example, this big guy right here, he, as big as he is, right now he's worth over $200, but I only paid like, I think it was $35 for him. The Oscar was about $10. This fish was about $35. This guy was about $40. Jaguar, she was about $20. Those guys back there were $1 each because I bought them all extremely tiny. As of now, at this current size, this guy easily $100 to $200. This guy, same price range. All these fish are worth $100 to $200. Maybe not the tilapia, they're worth maybe 30 to 40 because these fish are bred for human consumption. But basically all these fish, I buy them when they're young because I do save a lot of money. And on top of that, it's pretty cool to watch them grow up. I do have a video of this guy from when he was extremely tiny to the size he is now. And it's just a very awesome experience watching these fish grow from nothing to something. Now, like all things, you know, you have your ups and your downs when it comes to buying fish as juveniles. And one of the biggest downs about buying fish as juveniles is that sometimes there's confusion with identifying these fish when they're babies. For example, with the peacock bass, you have several different types of peacock bass, but when they're young, they all look very similar. And because of that, you could buy one species, and then turn out when it grows up, you find out you have a completely different species. Now, that's actually happened to me quite a few times, and I found out that it happened one more time. So this fish right here was sold to me as a cyclotamensis peacock bass. For those of you who don't know, the cyclotamensis is the largest growing species of peacock bass. I have this fish growing out in a 125-gallon aquarium. Most of the fish in this tank are pretty shy, and it rubs off, so he's pretty shy as well. But yeah, he's in this tank, and he was sold to me as a cyclotamensis. Now, at first I was very startled because he looks nothing like the ones you see online. But I know from experience that certain fish, they look one way as juveniles, and then as they mature, they start to get that regular pattern that you see online. A perfect example of that is my Cycler Orinoco peacock bass. If you look at the way he looks now, he looked nothing like that as a juvenile. So I actually have some footage of him a couple of years, well, not a couple of years, like last year, because he's only like a year old. But yeah, I have some footage of him from last year, and you can see that he looks nothing like how he looks today. But the thing is, when you look at that last year picture, the way he looks happens to look exactly like this cyclotamensis I have grown out in this 125-gallon aquarium. So when you do the math, it turns out I've been bamboozled yet again, and I have another Cycler Orinoco. Now, I bought that fish as a cyclotamensis peacock bass from a reputable seller online, and turns out they didn't know their stuff, and they sent me a fish that is not what it actually should be. So yeah, that's one of the major downsides about buying your fish as juveniles. Sometimes you won't actually get what you actually paid for. So yeah, it's not bad having two of these Cycler Orinoco. That really looks like a Cycler Orinoco over there. Maybe he's a Cycler Orinoco hybrid, but what I do know is that he's not a cyclotamensis. And it's a shame because I paid for a cyclotamensis. So yeah, that makes me wonder, what is this guy over here? This is my Cycler Xingu. This is about maybe 4 inches, and now what is he? He looks, I don't even know what he looks like. They all look like this as juveniles. Well, not all though. I know Azul looks like this as juvenile. Tamensis looks like this is a juvenile. A couple of different species of peacock bass look just like this. So I wonder what I actually got when I paid for this guy. And so that brings us to today's unboxing. So yeah, this right here is the most expensive fish I've ever purchased. And that's because this fish is not a juvenile. I like to buy my fish as juveniles, but I was tired of buying one fish and ended up with another one. So the best way to actually get what you pay for is to buy it as an adult, to buy it looking as it ought to look, and not with some gamble. So yeah, this guy was in here acclimating. Now when I first put him in there, he was the water was just above his back, and now the bucket is almost full. So he's ready to come out. This bucket is like 12 inches in length, and I'd say he's about 10 inches. So 10 inches, $100 for a 10-inch Cyclotamensis peacock bass. The real deal, not some Orinoco or some other species, a purebred Cyclotamensis peacock bass. So yeah, I set up the 75-gallon tank just for him. He's going to stay in this tank for about a week or so just to make sure he's healthy, he's eating. Once he's looking good, I'm going to put him directly into this aquarium, and I'm going to actually take this big guy out. He's been very aggressive towards him. If you look at his back fin, it's a little tear. It's because this, look, he might do it now. He's just on his back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the big guy out, maybe leave him in here for a week or two, just so that this guy right here, once he's in here, he can get nice and strong. No doubt, all it takes is like 2 weeks for him to catch up with this guy, because he already has the length. He just needs a little bit more stockiness, although this species doesn't really get as thick when they're young. But yeah, just I'm gonna have to do some experimenting. I definitely want this guy to be healthy, to be happy, so yeah, I'm gonna have to move some things around. But yeah, everyone, that's a look at my first purchase of the year, breaking some records when it comes to the price of that fish, because it is the most expensive fish I purchased, but hopefully it's well worth it, because this species, once again, is the largest growing species of peacock bass, and it definitely will be a nice show fish once it grows up. So yeah, everyone, let me know what your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section below. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.